Hello, Behind the Life family. Welcome back for today's episode. We appreciate your support. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
Who is this guy? Hearing Roman's words, Bradley scoffed and said angrily, "Dad, in all of Oris Hill, who could possibly measure up to me? No matter who he is, compared to me, he's just trash. Even if he were a phoenix, he'd be nothing next to me." His expression darkened. That Mr. Smith is completely clueless. Letting Warnia marry me would be an honor for their family. The nerve of the Smith family. How dare they underestimate me? Roman said calmly, "Bradley, don't forget where you are. This is the Smith family's home. If they overhear you running your mouth, do you think we'll have any chance of working this out?" When Bradley heard that, he immediately fell silent. Roman sighed. "You're still too hot-headed. When you run into problems, you need to stay calm." Bradley quickly, "I was too impulsive." Roman said, "Mr. Smith has been a sharp operator his whole life. Otherwise, he couldn't have built this family empire. He's not the type to make a foolish mistake. If Warnia really liked some regular guy, he would never agree to it, let alone support her. That's why I suspect the other party must be someone." "We'll make him disappear from this world." Bradley was overjoyed and quickly agreed. "Dad, I understand." At that moment, Charlie had just finished making lunch and was eating with his wife Claire and his father-in-law Jacob. During the meal, Jacob seemed incredibly excited, with a big, hopeful smile on his face. It looked like he was looking forward to something. His mother-in-law Elaine frowned as she looked at him and asked, "What's with that sleazy smile, you old fool? What are you up to?" "What are you talking about?" Jacob said quickly. "My old college buddies and I are having a reunion this afternoon back at our old school. We even invited one of our old professors to join us." "A class reunion?" Elaine said scornfully. "You've got one foot in the grave. What are you doing going to a reunion? Don't you know what those are for? They're just an excuse for old flames to get together." "Don't be ridiculous," Jacob blurted out. "It's all guys going this time. None of the women from our class were invited." "Really?" Elaine looked skeptical. Jacob quickly explained. "It's true. You don't remember what our class was like. There were only a handful of girls and they've all moved out of the country. So this reunion is just for the guys." "I don't believe you. You're not going," Elaine snapped. "You're just going so you can see that old flame of yours." "Don't think I don't know." Charlie was taken aback. Listening to his him. Claire, who had been quiet, couldn't stand it anymore. "Mom, just let Dad go. It's not easy to organize a reunion after all these years. Don't make him look bad by flaking on his friends." Elaine glared at her. "What do you know? Your father was wrapped around the little finger of some vixen from his class. If I hadn't pulled a little trick to snag him, he would have ended up with her. And if that had happened, you wouldn't even exist." Charlie was shocked. From the sound of it, his mother-in-law had been the one to interfere, yet she was acting like she was the victim. Jacob's face turned red with embarrassment. He looked at Elaine and said sternly, "Don't bring up that old stuff in front of our daughter." Then he quickly turned to Claire. Claire, don't listen to your mother's nonsense. This woman has no filter. She just likes to make me look bad. Claire looked embarrassed. She really didn't want to hear about her parents' old love triangles. So she said to Elaine, Mom, how about this? You can go play poker this afternoon and Dad can go to his reunion. Doesn't that work out perfectly? Just let him go. Jacob's eyes lit up. He seized the opportunity and threatened, if you don't let me go to my reunion, then you're not playing poker either. We'll both just stay home and stare at the walls. As soon as Elaine heard she couldn't play poker, she got anxious. You old fool, are you trying to stop me from winning money? Chloe is moving to Europe soon. I need to play a few more games with her before she leaves. I can make a few $100 off her in a single game, maybe even 1,000. After she was done, she looked at Charlie and blurted out, Charlie, you're going with your dad this afternoon. If there's a single girl at that reunion, you call me right away. I'll rush over there and give him a piece of my mind. Jacob was intimidated by Elaine's harsh words, but he managed to say stiffly, I have nothing to hide. Elaine glared at him. I'm done arguing with you. Fine, I'm going out to play poker. After speaking, Elaine got up, held out her hand to Jacob and said, Come on, give me the car keys. Jacob protested. You're driving to your poker game? I need the car this afternoon. Elaine rolled her eyes at him and said scornfully, What for? So you can drive to your reunion and show off to your old classmates? Not a chance. Hurry up and give me the keys. Jacob was helpless. He had no choice but to take out the car keys and hand them to her. Just drive carefully, he said. Don't wreck it. Elaine snapped. Are you telling me how to drive? Keep it up and I'll drive this thing straight into a river just to spite you. See how you like that? Jacob felt utterly defeated. Elaine, on the other hand, let out a triumphant sigh, happily put on her coat, and strutted out the door. After Elaine left, Jacob sighed helplessly and said to Charlie, Well, Charlie, you're coming with me this afternoon. It turns out some of my old classmates are also bringing younger guys to help out. Okay, Dad. Charlie felt like he had no choice but to nod and agree. Claire handed her car keys to Jacob and said, Dad, why don't you take my car this afternoon? I can just get a cab to the office. Forget it. Jacob waved her off. I'd be too embarrassed to drive that. Claire sighed, taking the keys back. She said to Charlie, Well, then you guys can just take a cab. Charlie thought to himself, this guy is so vain. He's turning his nose up at Claire's BKM 5 Series and calling it a base model? Does he have any idea that the car is actually a top-of-the-line BKM 760? Just then, Elaine had made it downstairs and was about to get in the car when she suddenly heard a familiar voice. Oh, hey Elaine, wait a minute! Elaine looked up and was surprised to see who it was. Her sister-in-law, Ivonne. She was taken aback. Back at Chloe's villa, she had thoroughly humiliated Ivonne and her husband, and she'd loved every second of it. She never expected Ivonne to actually show up at her house. So she asked, Ivonne, why are you here? Thinking back on how she had humiliated Noah and Ivonne, Elaine pictured the bitter looks on their faces, and a feeling of pure, smug satisfaction washed over her. It was a big change. Before, Elaine had always worried that if the Wilson family business went bankrupt, she'd never get the retirement money they owed her. But now, she was the one who was hoping they'd fail. She had found a new favorite pastime, making fun of Noah and Ivonne. If the Wilson family went completely broke, she could laugh in their faces every single day without holding back. Those two had been making sarcastic digs at her for so many years, and now it was her turn to pay them back with interest. So, when she saw Ivonne show up right in front of her, Elaine felt a little spark of joy. She was just thinking that she hadn't gotten her fill of mocking them last time, and she couldn't believe it. They had brought themselves right to her door. When Elaine asked, Ivonne said apologetically, Oh, Elaine, I came to see you today because I really want to apologize to you. Then, with a shameful expression, she continued, Back when I was with the Wilson family, I used to be so snobby. I didn't just give you dirty looks, I was always talking behind your back to Lady Wilson. What I did was wrong, and I've really thought of mistakes. That's why I came here today, to sincerely apologize. After she finished, her face flushed. She gritted her teeth and then bowed deeply to Elaine. Elaine was completely surprised. She thought Ivonne was here to start a fight, but instead she was bowing and apologizing. Elaine had been ready to tear into her, but now, hearing this, she was suddenly at a loss for what to do. Just then, when Ivonne saw that Elaine wasn't saying anything, really put on a show, she dropped to her knees, crying, and pleaded desperately, Elaine, do you blame me? I know I was so wrong. It's taken me all these years to realize something. In the Wilson family, we're both outsiders. We should have been friends, like sisters, looking out for each other." Then Ivonne slapped her own face and cried, "My dear sister-in-law, I used to be so ignorant. Please don't hold it against me. Can't we just be like sisters from now on?" Elaine was thrilled. This was perfect. The high and mighty Ivonne was actually kneeling in front of her, slapping her own face. It was everything she needed to feel vindicated. After all these years, when had Ivonne ever backed down? Now, Elaine was finally getting that sweet, satisfying feeling of having someone else under her thumb. Ivonne saw the smug look on Elaine's face and felt a surge of rage, but she just sighed and said, "Let me speak from the heart. I think I finally get it. All those years I was causing trouble for you. What was it all for? In the end, it was for nothing. Now I truly regret it. If I hadn't been so rude to you all these years, maybe things wouldn't be so bad between us now." She continued, trying to sound sincere. "Every single mistake was my fault. I just hope you can look past it for the sake of all our years as family and forgive me for everything I did." Yvonne quickly laughed and said with a smile, "How could that be? I've seen the error of my ways." Elaine had always dreamed of the day her condescending sister-in-law would have to grovel before her. But after waiting for more than 20 years, it had never happened. Now, unexpectedly, her dream was coming true. Elaine couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. She smiled and said, "Well, since you've realized your mistakes, Yvonne, I'm not one to hold a grudge. Let's just say, what's past is past." Yvonne quickly replied, "Great! You're so generous, Elaine. From now on, we'll be the best of sisters." That's what she said out loud anyway. In her head, she was cursing. This rotten woman. Give her an inch and she thinks she's a ruler. After all these years, Yvonne knew exactly what kind of person Elaine was. Say a few nice things, and Elaine would get all puffed up. Then, it would be easy. Chloe would lose a few $1,000s a day, but this new one apparently lost tens of thousands a day. She loved playing poker with people who had deep pockets but terrible skills. It was like printing money. If she teamed up with Ivonne and they used some secret signals, they could clean up without any risk. The thought made her giddy with excitement. She was the type of person who was completely addicted to money. The sight of cash was more exciting to her than seeing her own family. Now that Ivonne had dangled this opportunity in front of her, she was itching to play. Seeing that Elaine was hooked, Ivonne quickly whispered, "Listen, Elaine, at the poker table, we'll watch each other's gestures. If you need a certain suit, touch your nose. If you have a winning hand, purse your lips. If we work together, we can control the game and make sure we win every time." The second Elaine heard this, she agreed without a second thought. "Okay, Ivonne, if you say so, then let's go play a few hands with her and see what happens." Ivonne smiled, overjoyed, and said casually, "All right, this person is rich and lives in a Thompson villa. When do you want to go?" Elaine immediately replied, "I can go right now. Come on, we'll take my car." Sitting in the car, Ivonne couldn't help but smile coldly to herself as she watched Elaine's greedy impatience. To set this trap for Elaine, she had hired 2 accomplices and paid a fortune to rent a Thompson first-class villa for the short term. The goal was to win every last cent Elaine had and leave her with absolutely nothing. Elaine had no idea that Ivonne was setting her up. Instead, she was just thinking about how she was going to fleece this legendary sucker. Just as Elaine and Ivonne were rushing over to Thompson, Charlie and his father-in-law, Jacob, took a taxi to his old alma mater, State University. Looking at the magnificent white marble gate at the entrance and the words State University carved in a classic font across the top, Charlie couldn't help but be surprised. He never would have guessed. This old guy seemed so useless, but he was actually a graduate of a prestigious university. And back in his day, getting into a good university was much harder than it is now. Noticing Charlie's surprised look, Jacob snorted. What, you don't think I look like I went to college? Charlie nodded honestly and said, Dad, your whole vibe just doesn't really scream college grad. Jacob sighed, then said with a hint of pride, I was a big shot on campus back in the day. My grades were always top-notch. If I hadn't wanted to stay so close to home, I could have gone to Eastcliff University. Charlie laughed and asked, So what happened? You graduated from a great university, so how did you end up staying at home all the time? Charlie found it fascinating. His father-in-law, a graduate from a prestigious university and the second son of the Wilson family, had somehow turned into a man who did nothing but get yelled at by Elaine all day. When Jacob heard this, his voice caught, and he said dismissively, What happened later? Well, let's not get into that. It's just a long, sad story. As they were talking, a middle-aged man about Jacob's age walked out from behind the gate. As soon as he saw Jacob, the man rushed over. Jacob, I haven't seen you in years. Look at you now, all sharp and put together. Jacob studied the man in front of him for a long time before smiling and saying, Are you Evan Chandler? It must have been 30 years. You look like you're a big shot now. Made a fortune? Evan shook his head and said, I can't compare to you, Jacob. As the kids say these days, you were the original trust fund baby back then. The Wilson family did have some money back in the day. At that time, Mr. Wilson was in his prime and made a lot of money when he first started his business, so Jacob was living comfortably. His pocket money was more than half his classmates combined. It was because of that money that he managed to catch the eye of Elaine, who was in a different department. Hearing someone call him a rich kid, Jacob was about to be modest. But just then, another middle-aged man and a young man walked out. The middle-aged man came closer, snorted, and said, Rich kid, sure, but you must not be from around here, so you wouldn't know his situation. Let me tell you, the Wilson family is completely broke, and Jacob, our old campus hero, is having a really hard time now. Jacob's face darkened. Caleb Morrison, what are you talking about? It's my life. I don't need you to comment on it. Evan Chandler quickly stepped in. You two are still the same. After so many years, how can you start fighting the second you see each other? Back in college, you were at each other's throats every day. You're this old and you're still not over fighting about a girl? Jacob snorted and said proudly, What's there to say about him? He was just a sore loser. After she chose me, Caleb was so jealous that he'd get wasted in his dorm room every day. He'd cry his eyes out when he got drunk, and I bet he wanted to tear me apart. At this point, a group of other middle-aged and older alumni had gathered around. Hearing this, they all smiled and chimed in. Caleb really was smitten back then. Remember, he cried every single day. His eyes were so swollen he could barely see. Yeah, back then, everyone said Caleb was a real lovesick puppy. Charlie listened to the conversation and couldn't help but feel surprised. His father-in-law and Caleb Morrison were love rivals? So Caleb liked Elaine too. How could a total disaster like Elaine get so many guys to fight over her? Were these two guys that blind? When Caleb heard so many people dredging up his past, his face flushed with anger. He said coldly to Jacob, Jacob, you have a lot of nerve. You say I was the one you beat? What a joke. How exactly did you win? Is Zoe Sullivan here with you? Everyone knows Zoe left for Europe and dumped you. Zoe? Charlie heard this and finally understood. It wasn't Elaine the two of them were fighting over back then. The other alumni around them also laughed. Someone patted Jacob on the shoulder and asked curiously, By the way, Jacob, why did Zoe break up with you back then? Yeah, everyone's been wondering about that for decades. What happened? Jacob didn't expect everyone to suddenly swarm him, asking about a past he'd rather forget. He waved his hands awkwardly. Oh, let's not bring up the past. Charlie suddenly noticed a flash of pain in Jacob's awkward expression. Could there be more to the story between his father-in-law and mother-in-law?
Thank you for watching today's episode. We really appreciate your support. Just like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so. And tell us at the comment section the place that touched you most or the place you want us to know about.